Next up on our list is Josh Rojas. Josh Rojas, of course, acquired by the Seattle Mariners from the Arizona Diamondbacks right around the deadline, pretty darn close to the deadline. And the deal that sent Paul Sewald off to go win the National League Championship with the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Josh Rojas experience was a flawed one, but maybe a little bit better than some people thought. But before we talk all about it, let's talk about Simply Seattle, who provides the very best in Seattle sports gear. They have great stuff for the Mariners, of course, and I strongly recommend picking up all of it. But you know what? There's a good chance that you're a fan of a bunch of Seattle sports teams, and you're going to be able to find all of it at Simply Seattle. You can find stuff for the Kraken, the Supersonics, the Seahawks, the Huskies, the Cougars, the Storm, the Sounders, FC Ballard, Tacoma Rainiers. You can find it all at Simply Seattle. And once you find it all, use promo code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. Awesome deal. Link in the description, and it'll have that code for you just to enter. But just in case, MOLLYWHOP15, simplyseattle.com. So Josh Rojas ended up playing 105 games across his two teams. And I'm going to give you the Arizona numbers because I think they matter and don't matter at the same time. I'll explain in just one sec. 105 games, he hit 245, 303, 338. That's a 641 OPS. And that is a 78 OPS plus, 4 homers, 12 stolen bases. Those numbers with Arizona before the trade are bad. 59 games. He hit 228, 292, 296. That's a 589 OPS, 0 homers, 6 stolen bases, 51 to 18 strikeout to walk ratio. With Seattle, in a good difference in playing time, but not like a crazy difference. 134 plate appearances with Seattle compared to 216 with Arizona. He hit 272, 321, 400. That's an OPS of 721, OPS plus of 103, 4 homers, 6 stolen bases. Wasn't caught all year, which is kind of nice to see. So the reason why those numbers with Arizona don't matter is because you don't acquire those numbers. You acquire the player that put up those numbers, but those numbers mean nothing. And in fact, it's actually kind of a positive, I think. Because, yeah, Josh Rojas is a flawed player. He is not a 589 OPS player. He has a track record that suggests he is considerably better than that. 100 points higher career OPS than that, which is a little misleading because he stunk to high heaven in his first 2 cups of coffee. But in 2021 and 2022, this was a useful player. 2021, 264, 341, 411. 2022, 269, 349, 391. Added 20 homers and 32 stolen bases over those 2 years. A flawed player to be sure, but a player that is not without his strengths. And I think it's worth pointing out too, it's kind of easy to forget about. This guy was really good in August, and we only had 2 months of sample size from him. 1 month was meh. 1 month was really good. In 20 games in August, Josh Rojas hit 288, 329, 455. 3 homers, 4 stolen bases, 783 OPS. That's strong. That's a strong bottom of the order option for you. And in September, it wasn't so good, but it wasn't a disaster. It just wasn't nearly as good as it was in August. 254, 313, 339, 652 OPS. Not what you're signing up for. But not like, woe is us, what the heck are we going to do? You know what I'm trying to say. It wasn't great. It wasn't the reason the Mariners didn't make the playoffs. And, the thing that happened in September and October was that power that he showed in August, which he has not shown for the majority of his career, was completely sapped. And this is the problem with Josh Rojas. Like, counting on him to be more than, a utility guy, in my opinion, is that he just doesn't make enough hard contact. His expected slugging percentage of 331 ranked in the bottom 4th percentile in baseball. Hard hit percentage, 28.9, bottom 7th percentile. Barreled the baseball less than 4%, 3.8 to be precise, 9th percentile in baseball. Average exit velocity, 87.1 miles per hour, 14th in baseball. 14th percentile in baseball. I wish it was 14th in baseball. He just does not make a lot of hard contact, and he never will. And he's, that power surge he showed in August, fluky. You're talking about somebody who's going to hit 8 to 12 homers at most, barring a significant swing change. And hey, Mariners have tried those before. Hasn't worked out so well, but maybe that's what they go for and hope that they can get him to loft the baseball over the fence a whole bunch. I would not count on it, but maybe that's what they do. Because the strengths of him are pretty obvious too. He doesn't swing at pitches outside of the strike zone. Only swung at pitches outside of the zone 25.8% of the time. Only swung and missed 24% of the time. Strikeout percentage of 23.1 isn't great. Walk rate of 7.7%, not great. Those all rank anywhere from 39th to 57th, which not abhorrent, but not exactly something that you're hanging on your, do people still have posters? Not exactly something that you're framing anytime soon. And, goodness gracious, we're going to talk about platoon stuff again. The other problem with Josh Rojas is, and it was a problem again in 2023, guy can't hit left-handed pitching. Just not going to be something that he does. There is too large of a sample now. And in his 54 plate appearances in 35 games, which tells you how little people trust him against left-handed pitching, 225, 296, 265, all of 2 extra base hits when playing against lefties. Now, 249, 305, 351 against righties isn't exactly Cooperstonian either, but almost 100 points higher. And it's reasonable to expect him to be better against righties, and it's not likely that he'll be better against lefties. He just doesn't have the ability to, what I've seen, pick up the baseball quick enough, and he doesn't have the strength once he, is laid on the baseball to hit it hard enough to hope for quality contact. It's just not going to happen. What's interesting about Josh Rojas's profile last year compared to some other years was that the metrics liked his defense a lot more. And Savant really liked his defense in range above, outs above average, 90th percentile. The eye test for me doesn't suggest that good, but I think he's a good enough second baseman. I think he's good enough that you don't have to worry about, with the limitations on the shift, which is absolute nonsense. But, a little different. With those limitations and with the fact that you do need somebody to be able to play, you just can't stick him in that hole anymore. Be mature. He's fine. Would I prefer somebody with a little bit of range paired with JP Crawford? Oh, yeah, for sure. I'd honestly prefer JP Crawford to be my second baseman, but for another day. I think he's fine there. I don't think he's going to be, remind anyone of Robinson Cano defense in his best years. I don't think he's going to be the disastrous Colton Wong defense of the start of 2023 either. Now, thin line there, sure. But I think he's closer to good than he is to bad. But he's kind of right in the middle there. So I imagine what's going to happen with Josh Rojas this year, barring moves. And look, I've said look too much in this video. The Mariners are going to make moves. They have to. I mean, they literally have to. They can't fill a starting lineup right now. But assuming that the moves are made for the outfield, maybe third base, but almost assuredly the outfield. What's likely going to happen is Josh Rojas is going to platoon with the Jose Caballero and Dylan Moores of the world at second base. And I don't hate it. I would prefer better. I would prefer considerably better. But it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not the best, but I think it could be a lot worse. And in part of that is because I have seen Josh Rojas have success. I saw success from him in August, and I certainly saw success from him in 2021 and 2022. The only thing I'll caution is this is a type of skill set that does not age gracefully. So we'll have to see, and they will have to be, or at least they should be, aggressive if they see signs of the first half Josh Rojas that was very, very visible in 2023, because that's just not good enough. So yeah, are you okay with Josh Rojas being the everyday second baseman? I don't know if I'm okay with it. I am reserved to it, and it doesn't make me angry. Hopefully that makes sense. And hopefully you hit like and subscribe on this video. I really appreciate your support. It means the world to me. Thank you guys so much for everybody who has watched these videos. I know they're not for everybody, and it can get kind of boring listening to talk about one player for 12 minutes or however long this one will be, but it's really appreciated and it helps me out a lot. So do that. Follow me on those websites. And yeah, like I said, we're getting into the relevant players again.